The red star outside the window looked sick. Commander Thalvox stood in the observation deck of Epsilon 7 research station and watched the dying sun pulse weakly. She had lived on this station for 12 years, watching that star slowly fade. Now the station itself was fading too. Behind her, the lights flickered. They had been doing that for months. The air felt thin sometimes, even though the sensors said oxygen levels were fine. The heating system made strange sounds at night. Everything was breaking down piece by piece, system by system. Thalvox was Valerian. Her people were careful and thoughtful. They did not rush into things. They studied problems for a long time before acting. This approach had kept them safe for thousands of years. But sometimes being careful meant being slow. And being slow meant things got worse while you thought about them. The station was 60 years old. It had been built to last 30. The Valerian Council kept saying they would send repair crews, but those crews never came. There were always more important stations, newer facilities, bigger problems elsewhere. Epsilon 7 was forgotten, sitting out here by a dying star that nobody cared about anymore. Thalvox made a decision. It was not a Valerian decision. It was a desperate decision. She sent a message to the human outpost 3 systems away. The message was simple. We need help with basic repairs. Life support failing. Please send maintenance crew. The humans answered in 4 hours. The Valerian Council would have taken 4 weeks just to acknowledge the message. The human response was cheerful and brief. Help is coming. Hang tight. 3 days later, a human transport ship docked at Epsilon 7. Thalvox went to meet them at the airlock. She expected maybe 3 or 4 technicians with toolboxes. What came through the door was very different. First came a woman with bright eyes and a huge smile. She wore coveralls covered in pockets and patches. A name tag on her chest said Juan, lead engineer. Behind her came a whole team. Thalvox counted 12 humans, all carrying equipment cases and wearing the same cheerful expressions. Commander Thalvox? Jiwan stuck out her hand. Thalvox knew about human handshakes. She took the offered hand carefully. Jiwan shook it firmly. Thanks for calling us. We love fixing things. I only requested basic repairs, Thalvox said. Life support and power systems. Nothing complicated. Jiwan's smile got bigger. Oh, we can definitely handle that. Mind if we take a look around first? Get a feel for the place? Thalvox showed them to the main engineering section. The space was old and worn. Cables hung loose from ceiling panels. The main reactor hummed with a worrying rattle. Everything looked tired. The human team spread out, examining everything with strange devices that beeped and flashed. A tall human man knelt beside the reactor housing. His name tag read Hyunwoo. He ran a scanner over the metal casing and whistled. Boss, come look at this, Jiwan joined him. They spoke quietly in human language, pointing at the reactor and their scanner displays. Thalvox could not hear everything, but she caught words like ancient, inefficient, and dangerous. How old is this reactor? Jiwan asked. Original equipment, Thalvox said. 60 years, Hyunwoo looked shocked. 60 years? On the same reactor? Without a major overhaul? We perform regular maintenance, Thalvox said defensively. Every 5 years. Every 5. Jiwan shook her head. Commander, human reactors this size get checked every 6 months. Full overhaul every 2 years. I'm amazed this thing still works. It works adequately, Thalvox said. But she knew it did not. The power fluctuations were getting worse every week. Jiwan pulled out a tablet and started making notes. Okay, here's what I'm seeing. The reactor is running at maybe 40% efficiency. Your power distribution network is from the same era, which means you're losing another 20% in transmission. Life support is barely keeping up because the air recyclers are clogged. The water filtration system has parts that I've only seen in museums. And your communications array. She paused. When did you last update that? Never, Thalvox admitted. Never. Jiwan said it like she was tasting the word. Okay, we can work with this. How long will the repairs take? Thalvox asked. Repairs? Jiwan looked at Hyunwoo. They both smiled. Commander, we're not just going to repair things. We're going to fix them properly. Something in her tone made Thalvox nervous. I only authorized basic maintenance. Fixing what is broken, nothing more. Sure, Jiwan said. But she was still smiling. We'll fix what's broken. Trust me, Commander. You're going to love what we do. The human team got to work immediately. They moved through the station like water, flowing into every section, examining everything. Thalvox tried to keep track of them, but there were too many, and they moved too fast. By the end of the first day, they had mapped every system on the station. Jiwon presented Thalvox with a report. It was 50 pages long. Thalvox had expected maybe 3 pages listing broken parts. "This is very thorough," Thalvox said carefully. "We like to be complete," Jiwon said. "See page 12? That's where we detail the reactor problems. Page 18 covers life support. Page 23 is communications. Pages 30 through 42 are opportunities." "Opportunities? Improvements we could make while we're here. No extra charge. We brought spare parts." Jiwon's eyes sparkled. "Lots of spare parts." "I cannot authorize improvements," Thalvox said firmly. "Only repairs." Right. Just repairs." Jiwon nodded seriously. "We'll just repair things. To modern standards, which might mean replacing some outdated components with newer, better versions. But that's still repair, technically." Thalvox felt like she was losing control of the situation. This was not how Valerians did things. This was too fast, too casual, too human. "Just fix what is broken," she said. "Please." "You got it, Commander." Jiwon saluted casually. "We'll take care of everything." As Jiwon walked away, Thalvox heard her mutter to Hyunwoo, "Everything is broken, which means we can fix everything." Hyunwoo laughed. "This is going to be fun." Thalvox went back to her office and tried to work. But she could hear the humans throughout the station. They sang while they worked. They laughed. They moved with purpose and energy that made the old station feel young again. By the second day, Thalvox realized the humans had done something unexpected. The lights no longer flickered. The air smelled cleaner. The temperature felt more stable. She checked the power monitors and saw the output had increased by 30%. She found Jiwon in the reactor room. The engineer was covered in grease and smiling. "Oh, hey, Commander. We just finished the reactor tune-up. Should run a lot smoother now." "Tune-up?" Thalvox looked at the readings. "Power output is up 35%. Yeah, it was running really dirty. We cleaned it, replaced some worn components, optimized the plasma flow. Basic stuff." Jiwon wiped her hands on a rag. "We also installed 3 backup generators we had in storage. Just in case. I did not request backup generators." "Safety feature," Jiwon said cheerfully. "If your main reactor fails, you need backup power. We don't like leaving people in the dark. It's a human thing." Thalvox realized she was fighting a losing battle. The humans were not just fixing her station. They were improving it, whether she authorized it or not. And the worst part was that everything they did made things better. She should probably stop them, but the station felt alive again. The crew was happier. Systems worked properly for the first time in years. Maybe, Thalvox thought, letting humans help meant accepting more help than you asked for. Maybe that was not such a bad thing after all. On the third day, Thalvox discovered the humans had completely rewired the communications array. She found Hyunwoo on top of the antenna tower, working in a spacesuit. When he came back inside, she confronted him. "The communications system was working," she said. "Why did you replace it?" Hyunwoo looked surprised. "Working? Commander, that array was 60 years old. You could barely reach 2 systems away. The new one can reach 20 systems and process 100 times more data. Plus it has encryption that actually works. I did not authorize this. Boss did," Hyunwoo said. "She said secure communications are essential for safety. Can't have a proper station without proper comms." Thalvox went looking for Jiwon. She found her in the life support section with another human. The woman's name tag said Minji, communications specialist. They were installing something in the air recycler. "What are you doing?" Thalvox asked. "Upgrading the air filtration," Jiwon said without looking up. "Your old system could barely handle 50 people. This one can handle 200 easy. Also filters out way more contaminants. We only have 37 crew members." "Now you have room to expand," Minji said cheerfully. She was a small woman with quick hands and a bright smile. "Always plan for growth." "That's what my teacher said." "I am not planning to expand," Thalvox said firmly. "You should," Jiwon said. "This is a great location for research. Once we finish the upgrades, you could do serious science here." "Finish the upgrades?" "You were hired for repairs." Jiwon finally looked up. "Commander, everything we've done has been necessary. Your station was dying. We're bringing it back to life." "Isn't that what you wanted?" Thalvox wanted to argue. But looking around, she saw systems that hummed smoothly. The lights were steady and bright. The air felt fresh and clean. Her crew moved through the corridors with more energy than she had seen in years. Take a break, Minji suggested suddenly. You look stressed? Come to the mess hall. I'll make you something special. I do not need a break. Everyone needs breaks, Minji said. She grabbed Thalvox's arm gently. Come on, you'll like this. I promise, the mess hall was different. The humans had cleaned it thoroughly. New lights made everything brighter. Fresh paint covered old stains. In the corner, Minji had set up a strange machine that hissed and gurgled. What is that? Thalvox asked. Coffee maker, Minji said proudly. Every human station has one. Now you do too. She worked the machine with practiced movements. Soon a dark liquid filled a cup. The smell was strong and unusual. Minji handed her the cup. Try it, I added some cream and sugar. First-timers usually like it sweet. Thalvox sipped carefully. The taste was bitter but interesting, warm, rich, complex. She took another sip. Then another. Good, right? Minji grinned. Coffee is amazing. Keeps you awake, helps you focus, and tastes great. Humans run on coffee. It is acceptable, Thalvox said, but she finished the cup quickly. Minji immediately made her another. Over the next hour, half the Valerian crew came to the mess hall. Word had spread about the strange human drink. Minji served everyone, explaining coffee like it was a sacred ritual. Most Valerians were cautious at first, but soon they were all drinking cup after cup. Rixtal, the station's science officer, was particularly enthusiastic. This is wonderful. What plant does it come from? How is it processed? Can we grow it here? I brought seeds, Minji said. And a small hydroponics setup. If you want, I can teach you to grow coffee beans. Yes, Rixtal said immediately. Show me everything. Thalvox watched her crew fall in love with coffee. She was on her third cup herself. The bitter taste was growing on her, and the energy it gave her was remarkable. She felt more alert than she had in weeks. A different human entered the mess hall. He was tall and serious-looking, with scanning equipment on his belt. His name tag read, Daehyun, Security Officer. He went straight to Jiwon, who had joined them for coffee. Boss, we need to talk, Daehyun said quietly. Privately, Jiwon and Daehyun moved to a corner. Thalvox noticed them looking at a data pad and speaking in low voices. Daehyun looked concerned. Jiwon looked thoughtful. After a few minutes, Jiwon came back. Her cheerful expression was gone. Commander, I need to ask you something. Where exactly is this station located? What sector? Sector 47, Thalvox said. Near the border of explored space. Why? Which border? Thalvox felt uncomfortable. The Krath border. But they have not been active in this area for years. Jiwon and Daehyun exchanged looks. The Krath Dominion? Daehyun asked. The aggressive species that keeps expanding their territory. They signed a peace treaty with the Valerian Council, Thalvox said. 5 years ago. Treaties don't mean much if you can't defend yourself, Daehyun said bluntly. Commander, your station has no weapons. No shields. No defense grid, nothing. We are a research station. We do not need weapons. You're a research station in disputed territory, Jiwon said. That's different. Daehyun, send a message to command. Standard protocol for border installations. Wait, Thalvox said. What protocol? Security protocol, Jiwon explained. Humans don't leave their people unprotected near hostile borders. We'll request a military escort, just temporary until we finish the work here. A military escort? I cannot authorize that. The Valerian Council would never approve foreign military forces at one of our stations. Then don't tell them, Jiwon said simply. We're already here fixing your station. Might as well keep you safe while we work. The escort will stay outside just watching. Nobody will even know they're there. Thalvox felt overwhelmed. The repairs had turned into upgrades. The upgrades had attracted security concerns. Now the humans wanted to bring warships to her station. This is getting out of control, she said. No, Daehyun said seriously. This is getting safer. Trust us, Commander. We know what we're doing. Before Thalvox could argue more, alarms sounded throughout the station. Not emergency alarms. These were new alarms installed by the humans. They sounded different from the old Valerian warnings. Yunwoo's voice came over the communication system. Contact on long-range sensors. 3 ships approaching from Krath space. They are not responding to hails. Daehyun pulled out a handheld device and checked it. Confirmed. 3 ships, medium size. They're scanning us. Active military sensors. The Krath don't usually come this far into our territory, Thalvox said, but her voice was uncertain. The truth was, nobody really watched this sector anymore. The Krath could have been probing for months without anyone noticing. They're testing you, Ji-Won said, seeing if you'll react. Checking your defenses, she looked at Daehyun. Send that message to command. Priority 1. Tell them we need that escort now. Already sent, Daehyun said. Response time will be about 8 hours. 8 hours is a long time, Thalvox said quietly. Then we better get to work, Ji-Won said. She activated her communicator. All teams, new priority. We're installing defensive systems now. Hyunwoo, start setting up the shield generators. Minji, get the point defense turrets online. Everyone else, you know the drill. Let's make this station harder to attack. You have shield generators? Thalvox asked in disbelief. And turrets? On a repair ship? We like to be prepared, Ji-Won said. Never know when you'll need extra equipment. She smiled, but it was not her usual cheerful smile. This one was harder. More focused. Drink your coffee, Commander, Minji said, refilling Thalvox's cup. It's going to be a long day. The Krath ship stayed for 3 days watching and scanning. Then, on the morning of the 4th day, something changed. The 3 vessels moved closer, taking up positions that formed a triangle around the station. They were still outside weapon range, but barely. Thalvox was in the new defense center when the alarm sounded. Rixtal sat at the sensor station, her training already paying off. She worked the controls with growing confidence. The Krath ships are powering up weapons, Rixtal reported. No targeting lock yet, but they're getting ready for something. Captain Seo-hyun's voice came through the communication system. Epsilon 7, this is Defender. I see the weapons activation. Stay calm. This might just be more testing. Or it might be an attack, Daehyun said. He stood at the weapons console, ready but tense. They've been studying us. Now they want to see what happens when they show force. A message came from the lead Krath ship. The translation appeared on the main display. Valerian Station, you are operating in contested space. Submit to inspection or withdraw immediately. Thalvox felt anger rise in her chest. This is Valerian territory. It has been for 80 years. They have no right to demand anything. They're testing if you'll stand up to them, Ji-Won said. She had arrived moments earlier, still carrying a coffee cup. If you back down, they'll claim the sector. If you resist, they'll see if you can actually fight. What should I do? Thalvox asked. Tell them no, Sohyun said over the comm. You have defensive capabilities now. You have support. Don't let them push you around. Thalvox took a deep breath. Valerians avoided confrontation, but Valerians also valued truth and justice. This was her station in her territory, doing legitimate research. The Krath had no claim here. She opened a channel to the Krath ships. This is Commander Thalvox of Epsilon 7. We are a legitimate research station in recognized Valerian space. We will not submit to inspection, and we will not withdraw. Leave this sector immediately. The response was fast and aggressive. All 3 Krath ships moved forward. Weapons went to active status. Targeting sensors locked onto the station. They're preparing to fire, Rixtal said, her voice steady despite the danger. Multiple weapon locks. Shields? Ray shields, Thalvox ordered. All defensive systems active. The station's new shields powered up with a low hum. Energy barriers formed around the hull. Point defense turrets swiveled into position, tracking the incoming threats. The old research station had transformed into something that could fight back. The Defender moved between the station and the Krath ships. Seo-hyun broadcast on open channels. Krath vessels, this is human gunship Defender. You are threatening a station under human protection. Stand down immediately or face consequences. The lead Krath ship responded with contempt. One small human ship does not concern us. Move aside or be destroyed with the station. Wrong answer, Seo-hyun said calmly. The Defender launched first. Missiles erupted from its hull, streaking toward the Krath ships. The missiles moved faster than Thalvox expected, weaving and dodging in impossible patterns. The Krath point defense tried to stop them, but half got through. Explosions bloomed against Krath shields. 2 of the ships rocked from impacts. The 3rd tried to maneuver away, but the Defender was already moving. The human gunship accelerated impossibly fast, closing the distance in seconds. The Krath ships returned fire. Energy beams and kinetic rounds filled space. The Defender twisted and spun, avoiding most of the incoming fire. What it could not dodge, its shields absorbed, and all the while it kept attacking. "She's incredible," Rixtel breathed, watching the sensors. "The Defender is faster than any ship I've ever seen. And her weapons accuracy is perfect." "Human military training," Daehyun said with pride. "Captain Seohyun is one of the best. Those Krath captains are learning that the hard way." One of the Krath ships broke formation, trying to get a clear shot at the station. Bora, a human engineer who had been training on the weapon system, sat at the defense console. "I have firing solution," she reported. "Target is in range. Fire," Thalvox ordered. The station's point defense turrets opened up. Streams of energy cut through space, striking the approaching Krath ship. The vessel's shields flared and buckled. It veered away, trying to escape the unexpected counterattack. "Direct hits," Bora said with satisfaction. "Their forward shields are down to 30%. They're retreating." Minho, a human fighter pilot who had arrived with the Defender, launched from the gunship in a small attack craft. His ship was tiny but deadly, darting between the Krath vessels like an angry insect. He targeted their sensor arrays and communication systems, disrupting their coordination. "Second target damaged," Rixtel reported. "They've lost long-range sensors. The third ship is pulling back." The battle lasted less than 10 minutes. The Krath ships, expecting easy prey, found themselves facing coordinated human tactics and superior firepower. One ship had heavy damage. Another had lost most of its defensive capabilities. The third retreated to protect the other two. Captain Seohyun broadcast again. "Krath vessels, your attack has failed. Leave this sector now, or I will disable all 3 of your ships. You have 30 seconds to begin withdrawal." The Krath commander hesitated for 25 seconds. Then all 3 ships turned and began moving away at maximum speed. They did not stop until they crossed back into disputed space. Minho's fighter returned to the Defender. Seohyun's ship moved back to its defensive position near the station. The human captain's voice came through, calm and professional. "All clear, Epsilon 7, threat neutralized. No damage to your station." The defense center was silent for a moment. Then Rixtel started laughing. "We did it. We actually defended ourselves?" Other Valerian crew members joined in, their relief and excitement obvious. They had faced a real threat and survived. More than survived. They had won. Thalvox felt something she had not experienced in years. Pride. Her station, her crew, had stood up to aggression and prevailed. Yes, the humans had done most of the fighting, but her people had operated the defenses. They had made the decision to resist. They had chosen strength over submission. Jiwan appeared with a tray of coffee cups. "I thought everyone could use this. Victory coffee tastes better than regular coffee." Thalvox took a cup. The bitter warmth had become familiar and comforting. "Thank you. For everything. The repairs, the upgrades, the protection. You have given us more than I knew we needed." "That's what humans do," Jiwan said with a smile. "You asked for maintenance. We gave you a future." Captain Seohyun docked and came to the defense center. She looked tired but satisfied. "Good work, everyone. The Krath will think twice before coming back here." "Will they come back?" Thalvox asked. "Maybe," Seohyun said honestly. "But if they do, you'll be ready. Your crew performed well. With more training, you could handle threats like this on your own." "I hope that won't be necessary," Thalvox said. Seohyun smiled. "Hope for peace but prepare for war. That's the human way, and now it's your way too." Thalvox looked around the defense center. Her peaceful research station had changed. But perhaps change was not always bad. Perhaps being prepared was not the same as seeking conflict. Perhaps the humans had taught her people something valuable about surviving in a dangerous galaxy. The humans worked faster than Thalvox thought possible. Within 2 hours, strange equipment appeared throughout the station. Metal boxes with blinking lights attached to the hull. New antenna arrays pointed outward in all directions. The old reactor room now had additional machinery that hummed with power. Hyunwoo and his team installed shield generators in 3 critical locations. Thalvox watched them work, amazed at their efficiency. Each generator was the size of a cargo container. Where had they been hiding all this equipment? "Your transport ship was not very large," she said to Jiwan. "How did you bring all this?" Jiwan smiled mysteriously. "We packed efficiently. And we might have brought a second cargo ship. It's been sitting in your docking bay this whole time." "A second ship?" "You never asked," Jiwan said cheerfully. "Always bring more supplies than you think you need." That's rule number 1 of engineering. The Krath ships maintained their distance, sitting just outside what had been weapons range. Of course, the station had no weapons, so that did not mean much. The 3 ships scanned continuously. Talvox could feel them watching, studying, measuring. "Why have they not left?" she asked Daehyun. The security officer studied his sensors. "They're analyzing you, checking if you have defenses, seeing how you react to their presence. It's standard intimidation tactics. They want to see if you're weak." "We are weak," Thalvox said. "We have no military capabilities." "You had no military capabilities," Daehyun corrected. "Past tense. Give us 2 more hours." 6 hours after the Krath ships arrived, a new contact appeared on sensors. This one came from human space. It moved fast, much faster than the Krath vessels. Thalvox watched the sensor display as the new ship approached. "That's our escort," Daehyun said with satisfaction. "Right on time." The human ship was smaller than Thalvox expected. It was sleek and dangerous looking, covered in weapons and sensors. As it approached the station, it transmitted an identification code. The name appeared on her display, HSS Defender. "Captain Seo Hyun commanding." A woman's voice came over the communication channel. "Epsilon 7, this is Captain Seo Hyun. We're here to provide security support. Permission to take up defensive position?" Thalvox hesitated. Allowing a foreign military ship to defend her station was a big decision. The kind of decision that should involve the Valerian Council, but the council was far away and the Krath ships were very close. "Permission granted," she said. "Welcome to Epsilon 7, Captain." The Defender moved into position between the station and the Krath ships. It was smaller than any of the 3 Krath vessels, but something about it radiated confidence. The Krath ships immediately adjusted their position, moving back slightly. "They're nervous," Daehyun observed. "Good, they should be." "1 ship against 3? Thalvox asked. "Can the Defender really defend us?" "That's a gunship," Daehyun explained. "Small, fast, heavily armed, built specifically for this kind of situation. Those Krath vessels are bigger but slower. In a fight, I'd bet on Captain Seo Hyun every time." Captain Seo Hyun requested permission to dock and meet with the station commander. 20 minutes later, she came through the airlock. She was tall and moved with military precision. Her uniform was crisp and perfect. Everything about her suggested competence and confidence. "Commander Thalvox," Seo Hyun said, offering a hand. "Thank you for allowing us to assist." "I appreciate your quick response," Thalvox said. "Though I must admit I did not request military support. Your engineering team did that." "Standard procedure," Seo Hyun said. "Humans don't let their people work in dangerous areas without protection. Jiwon and her team are valuable. So is your station. We're here to make sure everyone stays safe." "The Krath have not been hostile. They are just observing. For now," Seo Hyun said. "But they're testing you. Seeing if you'll react. If you show weakness, they'll push harder. That's how the Krath operate." She pulled out a data pad. "With your permission, I'd like to review your defensive capabilities." "We have no defensive capabilities," Thalvox said. "This is a research station." Seo Hyun looked at Jiwon, who had joined them. The engineer grinned. "Actually, we've been working on that." "Want to show her, Captain?" They took Thalvox to a new control room. She had not known this room existed. It was hidden behind what used to be a storage closet. Inside, displays showed the station from every angle. Targeting systems tracked the 3 Krath ships. Weapon status indicators glowed green. "What is all this?" Thalvox asked. "Defense Control Center," Jiwon said proudly. "We installed it this afternoon. You now have shield generators, point defense turrets, and a sensor array that can track everything within 3 light hours. The shields won't stop a determined attack, but they'll buy time. The turrets can handle fighters and missiles. And the sensors mean nobody can sneak up on you." A new human entered the room. He was young and energetic with quick movements. His name tag read, Sunho Weapons Specialist. He carried a data pad covered in technical diagrams. "Systems are online and calibrated," Sunho reported. "All turrets responding perfectly. Shield generators at full capacity. We're good to go." "Excellent work," Seo Hyun said. Then she turned to Thalvox. "Commander, these systems are installed, but you need to know how to use them. I'd like to offer training for your crew, basic defensive operations, just in case." "My crew are scientists, not soldiers," Thalvox protested. "Scientists can learn," Sunho said enthusiastically. "The systems are user-friendly. I designed the interface myself. Anyone can operate them with a few hours of training." Rixtal, the science officer, spoke up. She had been watching everything with fascination. I would like to learn. This technology is remarkable. How do the targeting systems work? What kind of energy output do the turrets have? Can the shields be modified for different threat types? Sunho's face lit up. You ask good questions. Come here, I'll show you everything. The targeting system uses predictive algorithms combined with real-time tracking. The turrets have variable output depending on target size and range. And yes, the shields are completely configurable. We can tune them for kinetic, energy, or mixed threats. Within minutes, Sunho and Rixtal were deep in technical discussion. Other Valerian crew members drifted in, curious about the new systems. Sunho eagerly explained everything, answering questions and demonstrating features. Thalvox found herself watching a weapons training session in her own station. Her peaceful research facility now had military capabilities. Part of her wanted to protest. This was not what Valerians did. They avoided conflict. They stayed neutral. But another part of her, a more practical part, recognized the truth. The galaxy was not always peaceful. The Krath were proof of that. Having defenses did not mean seeking conflict. It just meant being prepared. Coffee? Minji appeared with a tray of cups. The mess hall had become a constant source of the human drink. Half the station was now addicted to it. Thalvox took a cup gratefully. The bitter warmth was comforting. How much coffee did you bring? Enough for 6 months, Minji said cheerfully. And I'm teaching Rixtal to grow more. You'll never run out. Captain Seohyun joined them with her own coffee. The Krath ships are maintaining distance. They haven't left, but they're not approaching either. My presence is making them cautious. How long will you stay? Thalvox asked. As long as necessary, Seohyun said. My orders are to protect the station and the engineering team. Those orders don't have an end date. So you might be here indefinitely? Seohyun smiled. Is that a problem, Commander? Thalvox thought about it. A week ago, she had a dying station with no help coming. Now she had upgraded systems, defensive capabilities, a supply of addictive human beverages, and a military escort. The humans had given her far more than she asked for. No, she said finally. It is not a problem at all. 2 months passed. The human engineering team stayed much longer than originally planned. Every day they found something new to improve. The reactor now operated at 120% of its original capacity. The life support could handle 300 people comfortably. The communications array could reach halfway across the galaxy. The station that had been slowly dying was now more advanced than facilities 10 times its size. Word spread through Valerian space about Epsilon 7's transformation. Other station commanders started asking questions. How had Thalvox gotten such upgrades? Where had the funding come from? Who had authorized military defenses at a research facility? The Valerian Council sent an official inquiry. Thalvox sat at her desk staring at the message for a long time. She needed to write a report explaining everything that had happened. The problem was that she barely understood it herself. How do I explain this? She asked Jiwon. The human engineer sat across from her drinking coffee as always. Tell them the truth, Jiwon said. You requested basic repairs. We provided comprehensive solutions. It's that simple. Nothing about this has been simple, Thalvox said. I asked for maintenance. You gave me a complete overhaul. I asked for help fixing broken systems. You gave me military-grade defenses. I asked for basic support. You gave me a gunship escort and coffee addiction. Jiwon laughed. The coffee wasn't part of the original plan. Minji just likes sharing things she enjoys. But everything else? That was necessary. Your station was in terrible shape. We couldn't just patch a few things and leave. That would be like putting a bandage on a broken leg. The council will want to know the cost, Thalvox said. How much do I owe for all this? Jiwon pulled out a datapad and handed it over. Here's the official invoice. Thalvox read through the document carefully. Her eyes widened. This says 0. No charge for anything. The repairs were free, Jiwon said. Part of humanity's goodwill program. The upgrades were complimentary. We had the equipment and the time. The coffee was a gift. The defensive systems were safety requirements, so those don't count. Captain Seohyun's patrol is covered by mutual defense interests. There must be some cost, Thalvox insisted. Humans don't give everything away for nothing. Actually, there is something, Jiwon admitted. She scrolled to the last page of the invoice. We'd like to propose a mutual defense agreement. Nothing complicated. Just an understanding that if humans need help in this sector, you'll assist. And if you need help, we'll respond. Also, we'd appreciate permission for regular cultural exchanges. Maybe some of your scientists could visit human facilities and our engineers could visit your stations. That's all? Thalvox asked. No trade requirements? No political alliances? No territory concessions? That's all? Jiwan confirmed. Humans like making friends. We help people because it's the right thing to do. But we also believe friends should support each other. This agreement just makes it official. Thalvox read the proposed agreement. It was fair and reasonable. More than fair, actually. The humans were offering far more than they were asking in return. I will recommend this to the council. I believe they will accept. Excellent, Jiwan said. Now about the coffee situation. Minji has been teaching Rixtal coffee cultivation. Your hydroponics bay now has 50 coffee plants growing. In 6 months, you'll have your first harvest. We've left instructions for roasting, grinding, and brewing. You're completely self-sufficient for coffee production. We've become dependent on your beverage, Thalvox said. But she was smiling. The whole station ran on coffee now. Morning shifts started with cups from the mess hall. Evening research sessions involved pots of fresh brew. Even the most traditional Valerians had converted. Coffee brings people together, Minji said, entering the office with yet another tray of cups. It's a social drink. You share it with colleagues. You discuss ideas over it. It builds community. It has certainly changed our culture, Thalvox admitted. The mess hall used to be quiet and empty. Now it's the heart of the station. People gather there, talk, share ideas. We've had more research breakthroughs in the last 2 months than in the previous 2 years. That's the power of coffee, Minji said proudly. And good engineering, she added, nodding to Jiwan. Rixtal burst into the office, excited as always. Commander, you should see what Hyunwoo is teaching me. He's showing me how to optimize plasma flow in the reactor. We think we can increase efficiency by another 5%. That sounds dangerous, Thalvox said cautiously. Only if you do it wrong, Rixtal said. But Hyunwoo is an excellent teacher. He explains everything so clearly. I understand systems now that used to confuse me. She's a quick learner, Hyunwoo said, following Rixtal into the office. Best student I've ever had. She asks the right questions and remembers everything. In a few months, she'll be as good as any human engineer. Better, Rixtal said confidently. I'll be better because I learned from humans and Valerians. 2 perspectives are stronger than 1. Captain Seo-hyun appeared in the doorway. Sorry to interrupt, but I have news. Command has extended my patrol assignment indefinitely. Indefinitely? Thalvox repeated. Why? Your crew requested it, Seo-hyun said. Formally. They sent a message to Human Military Command asking for continued protection. Command approved immediately. Apparently, this station has become strategically important. My crew requested military protection without telling me? Thalvox was surprised but not angry. Her people had learned to make their own decisions. That was growth. They felt safer with the defender nearby, Seo-hyun explained. And honestly, so do I. The Krath won't forget what happened here. They'll be back eventually, probably with more ships. Better to be prepared. So this is our new normal, Thalvox said. A research station with military defenses, human engineers, constant upgrades, and a permanent gunship escort. Don't forget the coffee, Minji added. And the coffee, Thalvox agreed, smiling. I suppose I should get used to it. You already are used to it, Jiwon pointed out. This station runs better now than it ever has. Your crew is happier, more confident, better trained. You can defend yourselves. You have resources and support. This is what success looks like. Thalvox completed her report to the Valerian Council. She explained everything honestly. The failing systems, the human response, the unexpected upgrades, the Krath confrontation, the victory, the transformation of her station from a forgotten outpost to a thriving facility. She included the proposed mutual defense agreement. She recommended accepting it strongly. The humans had proven themselves trustworthy. They had given freely when they could have demanded payment. They had protected Valerian interests without asking for control. They had shared knowledge without expecting submission. The response from the Council came 3 weeks later. They approved the agreement unanimously. They also requested that human engineering teams visit 6 other Valerian stations. Apparently, Epsilon 7's transformation had impressed everyone. Looks like you started something, Jiwan said when Thalvox shared the news. 6 more stations want the human treatment. Can you handle that many projects? Thalvox asked. We'll manage, G1 said. Humans are good at scaling up. We'll send more teams, more equipment, more coffee. She paused. Though I'd like to stay here a bit longer if that's okay. This has been my favorite assignment. Your crew is wonderful, your station is beautiful, and the research you're doing is fascinating. You're welcome to stay as long as you like, Thalvox said warmly. Consider yourself part of the crew. 3 months after the humans arrived for simple maintenance, Epsilon 7 was unrecognizable. The dying station had become a beacon of cooperation and advancement. Valerian scientists worked alongside human engineers. Coffee plants grew in hydroponics. The Defender patrolled nearby, a constant reminder of friendship and protection. Thalvox stood in the observation deck looking at the red star. It still looked sick, still dying, but somehow it seemed more beautiful now. The station no longer felt forgotten and alone. It felt alive, connected, important. G1 joined her with 2 cups of coffee. Thinking about how things have changed? Thinking about what I learned, Thalvox said. When you ask humans for help, you get more than you expect. But somehow it's exactly what you need. That's because we don't just solve the problem, you see, G1 explained. We solve the problems you don't know you have. We look at the whole situation. We think about the future. We want you to succeed long after we're gone. It's a good philosophy, Thalvox said. Maybe Valerians should adopt it. You already are, G1 said, gesturing to the station around them. This place isn't just repaired. It's transformed. And that transformation came from Valerians accepting change, learning new skills, trying new things. You did this as much as we did. They stood together in comfortable silence, drinking coffee and watching the dying star. The future was uncertain. The craft might return. New challenges would arise. But Epsilon 7 was ready now, ready to face whatever came, ready to thrive instead of just survive. And it all started because one desperate Valerian commander asked humans for basic maintenance. She got upgrades, coffee, and a gunship detail. But more importantly, she got friendship, knowledge, and hope. Sometimes, Thalvox reflected, the best gifts are the ones you never knew to ask for.